Hey Cancer, welcome to your Psychic Fairy Oracle Card Blessing reading. Give me just a few minutes. Hold on, let's go more this way. Oh, hold on, I don't like it when the camera's off screen. Okay, just ignore the puzzles on this side. So give me just a second here while I go ahead and shuffle. So Cancer, I did want to go ahead and make a few announcements as I shuffle and begin our session here. First things first, sorry, I had to get my timer ready. I have a website now for personal readings, and I only accept personal readings on there, coaching sessions and or emergency readings. And I also am selling the Tarot Live for Halloween on my website, only on my website. I have a full moon reading in Aries already posted. It's 45% off on sale. It's a recorded video session because you're going to need that recap once I post the full moon and Taurus reading. Okay. That's tarot and astrology. So just FYI. And also, for anybody who's wondering why I have an OnlyFans, first off, it's a free subscription and it's a way for you guys to keep up with me because most social media platforms don't let me post, or they censor my posts, or they hide my accounts like they do. What is it called? Shadow banning or whatever stupid shit like that is. But sorry, it's annoying, like they'll let people post things for $1, like a house being for sale for $1, but here I am just peddling, psychic oracle card readings. I know I'm the bad guy, so whatever. So in order to kind of circumvent these people, I've decided I have an OnlyFans, but I am not using it for illicit services, so don't think that. But I will say this, I do use it to keep up with you guys. I actually give my subscribers priority in terms of readings and placement and also announcements. And my website also is now going to have a newsletter when you sign up with your email. At the bottom of the website, there's a little sign up place. It's like stay in the loop or something like that. You can sign up there and join, and you guys will get the newsletter that I am revamping and working on right now. So lots of stuff. And I do post OnlyFans content, but not like illicit in terms of what I do. But I know in the past I have posted tarot sexual magic readings on there only, because that seems to be the only acceptable platform to do them on. Just saying. But yeah, those do get posted on there. But let's go ahead and look. And one more thing, I do have exclusive oracle card readings for your zodiac sign posted on my Patreon, which is in the link on the OnlyFans page too, and will be down in the description box below. Same for my website, down in the description box below. So let's go ahead. Show me for Cancer, please, for the psychic oracle card reading. For the fairy blessing, show me my beautiful. What is coming through? Okay, definitely not that card. Remember, this deck doesn't use reversals. So anything that's a reversal, it's not a blessing. We don't want that, right? We want blessings that are going to come to us in the immediate present that can help us with the month. See, it turned itself over. Okay. Cancer, whoa, hold on. You guys, what the heck, Spirit? All right. Let's see if any of these are upright. Oh, we'll take that one. I'll take that one. Nope. That one was upright, but I feel like we've already got enough. Plus, I got to check the one on the bottom. Let me see what else. Yeah, this deck is funny. It's all about the uprights and not reversals, which for me as a reader is very strange because I do reversal readings. I do reversal readings in my emergency and my, oh, this is interesting. You got a blessing of the shining ones. I've actually pulled this one a couple of times, but it's a little different because it talks about shinies. I always call shinies like shiny things, shinies, because the Fae love shiny things. Oh my God. They'll take pennies, they'll take rings, they'll take keys, anything that is relatively shiny, whether it's a fake metal or a real metal, they will take it. Like, I'm just saying. And it's not a bad thing. It's just they like them. They like shinies. So it's interesting that you got the shining, a blessing from the shining ones already at the end of this session. But Cancer, let's go ahead and talk about a blessing of the butterfly queen, because this is your opening for November. And in fact, Cancer, I actually love this. This is very much like what Scorpio energy is meant to be like, but it is usually seen as this. So we're gonna, because it's their colors and kind of eighth house energy here, but this is like the higher vibrational eighth house energy. Excuse my nails, I have to do them. I do my nails at home. So for anybody wondering, it's just Viva Dash $7 nails. That's it. It's way easier than polish. And no, they do not pay me to say that, though I wish they did. But the thing is with the blessing of a butterfly queen, this card is very much like what Scorpio is in its highest vibration. And in terms of its season for you, Cancer, where Scorpio and where the sun is right now, because I'm doing this literally the week before Halloween, this reading, and before we go into November. The thing is that with Scorpio season, it's kind of a trying time for you mentally and emotionally, because you're the primal water sign, you're the very first one, you're the first water sign of us who has to go through it all essentially, but in terms of emotion. But then Scorpio adds an element of intensity that can either make or break a Cancer. And I say that because I have all three water signs in very prominent placements in my chart. So when something happens in one water sign, it tends to play off the other two for me. And that Cancerian aspect in my chart, I know definitely gets played up around this time of the year, including, but not limited to, I have a stellium in Scorpio. So it really intensifies all of the water energy within me and within my chart. So I can only imagine what one activation does for Cancers, because I can tell, and I've seen how it plays out with the other water signs. It's not that you guys can't handle Scorpio energy well. It's just Scorpio energy is, it tends to find you rather than you go find it. And and for Cancerians, that's a bit, I would say, frustrating, because you guys like to go and explore and have your eyes open and feel things out, but in your time. Scorpio is like, what time? I got nothing but time. And Cancerian energy is like, but that's not how I operate. Like, that isn't me at all. Like, don't you understand? We got to feel the crash of the waves and watch it recede. And Scorpio energy is like, yeah, but I go with those waves. That's different for me. And so it's like, I feel as though you're comparing yourself to this energy when in fact, Cancer, you have to embrace the waves. You have to follow them for a change. And I can imagine that that is perplexing and also frustrating, because you, in a way, are like, well, but I'm getting pulled into the sea. How will I ever get back in? Well, that's the beauty of the sea. It knows how to filter itself, and it knows when those waves need to come back in, but it also knows when it needs to pull back. And that's what Scorpio energy is excellent at, if not consistent with. And I think for you this month, this is very important, because until we get a full moon in Taurus, you're going to feel this energy, and it's almost going to be like a whirlpool for you of just pushing and pulling you down, and then pulling you back up for some air, and then pulling you back down again. And, Pisces can handle it, but Cancerians, I'm getting the image of, you might need to take a smoke break because it might be that intense. Not that I'm encouraging that, but that's like the feeling I get of, I just need to go. And it's funny because over the last month, I've been wanting to go smoke a black and mild. I haven't smoked one of those in like 15 years, but it's like, oh, I could use just a black and mild real quick and then go back in. Like something like that. You need something to recenter yourself. And it's interesting because I don't feel like smoking is very healthy, but I do see how people interestingly go for that and recenter themselves. But the water signs need something that's a little bit different than smoking. They need something that's a little bit more of a zen moment. Actually, I would recommend you guys go for listening to frequency music, heart chakra aligning music, music that deals with positive frequency, because I think that's really going to help shift these waves. Because a lot of people forget Scorpio is very loving as a water sign, but it can be cold as shit and very Plutonian in terms of its iciness. Pluto is the coldest planet, and now it's a dwarf planet, technically in our solar system. But now, they took Pluto out of the solar system and then she shined up, which is exactly what Scorpio does. And it's almost the irony of it, but that's pretty much how the underworld is. You underestimate it and then it blows up. And that's exactly what happens. And so I feel for you, Cancer, that right now, at this point in time, you need to have a strategy on your glow up. And not just your glow up in terms of how you're going to execute it, but also this energy is about transformation that will take place over months, not just weeks, not just days, months. That starts now for you in Scorpio season. This is when you come out of this metamorphosis and you are completely transformed. And what I love about this card, and when I've worked with it in the past, these changes, they are rapid. They're going to start now. I bet you as soon as Mars hits Scorpio, it's going to be like that. You're going to have to keep up. And you're going to have to keep up because that's how Scorpio is. It's a very like energy, and you have to understand it comes from the void of creation, and then it creates, but it also destroys. So, and then it goes back to the void for rest. And so it's a very type of, I'm up, I'm creating, I'm destructing, and then I'm down for the count, and then I'm up, rinse, repeat. It's a very as intoxicating as it is of a sign, and as this card is, it is also very taxing and laboring on you emotionally, which is why I'm saying take the time to realign not just your frequency, but also where you are coming from in terms of your mental faculties. I feel like that's going to help you a little bit better this month in terms of Scorpio season before we hit the full moon in Taurus. Once we hit the full moon in Taurus, which since I'm doing that reading, I'm not going to go fully into it, but it is an eclipse. So be prepared for things to be very shaky at that time. But like I said, I will digress further into that on my website with the full moon in Taurus reading. Now, I do have here a second card, a blessing of glamour. This card is all about the Fae magic in terms of what Scorpio actually does in our world. And it's funny that you get the colors too. These are very Scorpio colors, but glamour magic is about working with the veil. It can be used to hide oneself, but it doesn't always necessarily have to be that way. Glamour magic is also a form of beauty magic in terms of magical practices. So to glamour can enhance your looks or can turn them into something else. That's why, like when the Wicked Witch in Snow White, she changes her appearance, she essentially glamored herself into looking like an old hag. So, but it can go both ways. I'm just saying it can go both ways. It doesn't have to just go negative. It can also go positive. But in terms of this card, this is about keeping things hidden, being a mystery a little bit, which is exactly what Scorpio is. And for you, I feel like it's also about quiet and stillness, because the veil in terms of the glamour itself is the veil and the glamour work both ways. They work on each other in terms of the Fae realm and with each other, but how the Fae use glamour and how they use the veil are two separate things. So it's almost like one is built into the other, but you can use one without the other and vice versa, which can be a little confusing, especially if you're not used to working with glamour. So if you need to hide your plans from someone, or start thinking of how you would use a glamour. But if you are going to use something for like nefarious means, I'm just going to tell you the divine is going to end up taking over, and Scorpio energy will end up, if it's not going to work for someone's highest good, Scorpio energy is going to destroy your glamour. Like, I'm just letting you know, like, that's how it happens. That's how I've seen it happen plenty of times to know it's going to be done that way. And it might unsettle you, but it might also reveal where maybe you need to shift in some area of your life in terms of maybe your ideas or your values. Because remember, Scorpio isn't just about sex, death, transformation, and rebirth and metamorphoses. As important as those things are, yes, it is about that, but it's also about legacy, taxation, and reputation is sometimes what I feel, because how we present ourselves into the world is important, and also magic. Pisces is technically known as the magic house, but this is the precursor because Scorpio is the occult. But I don't like to use that word because it's just another word for magic. So, and also Scorpio is a water sign, which makes it highly psychic. So at this time, Cancer, you're probably going to be a little bit more on point in terms of your psychic ability. And I say a little bit more because, again, you're going to have to go down into these depths in order to become this, but you're going to have to also hide yourself too. It's almost like you have to go into that hovel a little bit of yours that I always like to talk about and process. But see, when Scorpio goes into its hovel to be by itself, it's not so it can recenter, it's so that it can listen more to its intuition. And so it can understand the quiet stillness of the psychic messages that come to it, or insights, or intuitive awareness, if you will. So to me, that is, well, sorry, very important, because hold on. Interesting. Okay, I just got invited to a party. So I wasn't expecting that. So happy birthday to me in my season, right? So here's the interesting part though. I think you're going to start, you got a blessing of the shining ones. Now, a blessing of the shining ones isn't just about shinies. Shining, and it's interesting because that's the timer. I'm gonna go a little bit over on this one because I had to explain to one of my parents about the film The Shining. And you're like, well, what does that have to do with psychic oracle card readings? Well, technically in Stephen, what is his name? You know who I'm talking about, the guy who wrote The Shining. Shining is just another word that is used for psychic ability. It's actually used in place of it. They call it The Shining, but the kid has psychic ability just like the cook does. And except I think they can see this deceased spirits that come to them in the hotel, and that's more like mediumship. But it's interesting because you have a blessing of the shining ones, which the shining ones are about, it's not just about shinies physically, like I'm saying, but it is about your shining in terms of your psychic ability and power, which normally I'm picking up on this month. But I feel like for you emotionally, in order to actually go into this blessing of the shining ones, you have to go through the emotional upheavals, the highs and the lows, which can be positive and negative. So if you feel like things are too low, definitely reach out to a psychologist or psychiatrist, one that is licensed ideally. Just because I feel sometimes Scorpio energy is so intense and so dark and so underworld like that we can be essentially pulled down and forget ourselves, and we can lose ourselves into that underworld. And sometimes we need that guiding light to remind us that we are not always down in the underworld by ourselves. Persephone and Hecate are kind of like the shining beacons in the underworld, to remind us that we are not always alone. But there is also like the full moon goddesses as well. But the shining ones in terms of this have to deal again with that psychic ability, psychic awareness, and also ironically having your time to shine in the sun. Now, while this is Scorpio spotlight, Cancer, your psychic ability will, like I said, it'll be on point, but it will be coming more and more through to fruition at this time. You may also have a new ability that's going to pop through, but at this time, I always say, don't force it, let it happen naturally, because the more naturally you let something come to you, the easier it is to work with it. But if you're not comfortable with that, just tell spirit, hey, look, I'm not comfortable with that. And, I'm not ready. And they'll respect it as much as it's a part of your soul contract. Eventually, you're going to end up having to do it, but it'll be on your terms when you're ready. And that's the most important thing. Other than that, Cancer, I've got to go, trot. I've got Leo's reading, Virgo's reading, and Libra's reading. So I'm a little busy today, but make sure to go to my website. Again, down in the description box below, I have all the links for that. the OnlyFans, the Patreon, all of that down in the description box below. I love you all so very much. I will talk to you later. Have a great November. Happy Halloween. Halloween's my favorite time of the year because the veil is thinning again, which is why you may want to practice and look up glamour magic. Okay. Talk to you later. Love you so much. Bye, Cancer.